Hey there, Byrand here, and welcome back to another video. Today we are talking about Record of Grancrest War, Episode 15, Return. Now, first of all I want to talk about is that apparently Yana, the Black Witch from the last episode, did survive. And to me it looks like she's has either A, gone crazy because of how she's acting, or B, it was a way of saying yes to Saluka's question. And apparently it's revealed that she is the one who summoned the Demon Lord in episode 1, causing the Great Hall tragedy. But Saluka doesn't think she did it alone. She thinks she had help from some type of organization. And it's spoilers alert, but it's implying that it was the Mage Academy. Because we see the emissary that was sent to reward Theo and pretty much cause Yana's execution had a giant smirk on his face, pretty much as the Demon Lord popped up and disappeared after it killed Yana, in a pretty brutal way. It was the same way the two archdukes were killed; their heads got chopped off. But instead of having a look of fear in her eyes, she was laughing. So it's not confirmed that it was the Mage Academy. That's just my theory, because A, why would they execute her without an investigation? Like, I'm not saying this as a point, like, say, in the modern world, where we kind of have due process. Like, Saluka even says that's kind of strange, that there's no investigation. So, something's being hidden. Of course, Theo is pretty well rewarded for capturing Yana and liberating Sistina from the Rossinis. He gets a bunch of, like, valuables. He's also made the official ruler of Sistina in another territory which I don't remember. And he's also given the court rank of Earl. So I think he's pretty much back up to where he was before he gave up his rank. Or he might be even higher now. But that was just like the first quarter of the episode. Kind of like a thing to keep an eye on and remember. But it wasn't the primary focus of the episode. Like, don't get me wrong, the whole thing with Diana was important. It's just that it's not relevant to this episode. And this was basically Theo returning to Altric to do his next mission. And of course, first thing we see from Mirza is that his forces are receiving a heavy hit. And apparently he decides to attack the witch's village and the werewolf's village. So, a lot of innocent people probably died in that. And that kind of was his plan, to crush the rebellion. As soon as Theo returns, we actually get to see that Laura, the blonde mage that was under Villar, is actually alive. Apparently her poison really didn't do anything. The poison she took didn't really do anything. That, or when she said Helga's poison, just thanks to Helga's poison I'm not dead. Either the poison was too weak, or they gave a stronger poison to neutralize the weaker poison, which I have no clue if that's actually true, so I would not recommend trying that. Like, it might just be like it was a weak poison. That's my theory, because ingesting more poison is just gonna kill you faster. Now like, of course Lassic still wants to serve under Theo, but Theo's like, no, you gotta wait a little while longer. Like, it's just kind of funny seeing those two characters interact now. Like, back in episode 2, they seemed like, okay, these guys are gonna be kind of butting heads a lot. Because Lassic was like, oh, let's take down Theo and get his territory. All of a sudden he lost. Like, okay, I'm gonna serve you now. It's like a complete 180 from what we thought the character was gonna be. Like I kind of like it. Like I don't know how to put like what kind of character Elastic is. He's kind of the not a mascot, but I guess you could say Theo's best friend. I guess you could say since the that Rebecca chick is dead, and I still have no clue who she was. Somebody might have mentioned it in the comment, but I haven't read them lately. I'll do that after this video. Um, where was I? Ah, here we go. And they basically have another treaty summit, and basically it's showing that Alfred has resentment towards Theo, but before this can even begin, Theo says a moment of silence for the lords who lost their lives, and he pretty much admits that it was his fault before anybody can even accuse him. This kind of makes Lazik's mage, Moreno, I think his name was, kind of surprised because like he's acknowledging it. Like, like he didn't even tell Theo that this is what the Lord's thought. So it really shows that Theo's really just trying to get people on his side no matter what he has to, or not really on his side no matter what he has to do, but because he's kind of willing to play the scapegoat in order to help those in need. Which I guess we probably should have seen coming since we've known Theo for about 15 episodes now. And Theo's basically saying that he vows to take back Altuk from Milza and, well, kill him. No idea how that's gonna go because we've seen Milza. He's pretty brutal. The only fight he came close to losing was against Lassic. And even then, he probably still would have won if Lassic David never retreated. He got to there, he was kind of just overwhelmed a little bit. And the last part of the episode, which is to build up to the next episode, where Theo has returned to the Forest of Darkness in order to liberate it. There we see him talking with the emissaries from the Werewolf Village, the White Witch Village, and actually Juzo Vocini as well, and some of his own like close aides, soldiers, I guess you could say, are there. And we find out that there is a slave rebellion going on up in the Nordic territory, and it of course was revealed before this scene when Mills was having, well, sweets with Marine and I can't remember what that chick's name is. I'm just gonna call it the Nordic emissary for now until I learn it. Of course, but something we don't learn from that is that there are actually a rebellion in Dartania that are going against Milza. So that seems pretty interesting. And Giselle basically says, I'll go and deal with this. Like, being a Rossini, we know how to oppress people, but we also know how to do the opposite as well. And Theo allows this. And it's kind of making Jules' character a little interesting. Like, we don't really get to know much about him. Like, I'm still going to keep my eye on him because we haven't really seen much of him yet, so we don't really know what his ulterior motives are. And it's revealed that the plan is to pretty much trap Milza in the Forest of Darkness because they have the geographical advantage, which of course it makes sense. You got werewolves, you got witches, like they kind of lived in that area, so they kind of know the layout, the best paths to take, what paths not to take. Not to mention it's full of demons too. And Milza pretty much falls for this. He says, "Oh, let's go into the Forest of Darkness and kill Theo." But his mage is like, "No, wait for him to come out." This almost costs a mage his life, but yeah, but the final thing I want to talk about is Milza's rule. It really feels like an absolutist monarchy, in a way. It's just, he's brutal. He puts down any rebellions. Pretty much nobody gets a say. Just, it's very absolutist. Or an absolute tyranny. But the next episode, but finally, let's move on. But I digress, and the next episode is called Outpost. And my theory is that this would just pretty much be either the actual battle between Milza's forces and Theo's, and it'll end in one episode, or it'll take about maybe two, maybe three at the max. I don't see them dragging this on very long. This fight very long. Or it's going to be another build up to it of Elastic David trying to gain support for Theo to pretty much come and fight Mills' forces while they get ready for it. Yeah, it really kind of makes it hard to understand what's going on for the next episodes. But that's really all I wanted to do in my discussion. And for the review, I gotta give this episode about 4 out of 5, maybe 3.5 out of 5. Like, it had a lot of interesting things. Yeah, I'll have to give it 4 out of 5 because it's making me think about what's going on in the future episodes. Like, who's the true enemy here? Like, granted, we know it's the Demon Lord, but I mean, for this arc, like, is it really Milza, or is it somebody else? Well, granted, yeah, they gotta get rid of Milza, but what I mean is that, is the villain really Marine, or is it somebody else? Because it would make sense if it was the Mage Academy, because pretty much Lucas' stepfather is pretty much probably I think he is the leader of the Mage Academy, at least really high up there, and he has influence over the Alliance. This would make a lot of sense in order that they're even manipulating everything, but the question would be why? That's the one thing I haven't been able to figure out. Well, my time is just about up. If you enjoyed the video, click the like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss another video. And finally, meet me in the comment section for a discussion on this episode. Byrand is out of here.